Yes, sir. It's on
Okay.
line.
It's on air, sir. ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning to all.
Good morning.
Welcome to 7th webinar of CTF Karnataka chapter. In today's webinar topic is interpersonal skills by Dr. H.B. Vamadevappa, former principal, MM College of Education, Davangere. So before start the today's session, so all of you know that the last week we lost 2 legends in teacher education. One among them is Professor Uddandappa sir, former principal, RV Teachers College, Bangalore. Sir served as a teacher educator, professor, the principal, 40 years in teacher education. Knowingly or unknowingly, just last week, in the last episode, well, in the 6th webinar, we remember and recall the Professor Uddandappa sir thoughts. Unfortunately, we lost this presentation. So it's our duty to give respect to the Professor Uddandappa sir and his achievements in the teacher education. And second person, Professor Anita Rastogi, the senior most former vice president of IITE Delhi. So we lost these two souls in our teacher education. So I request all of you, please join us for the 1 minute, the silent prayer to give respect to the Professor Uddandappa sir and Professor Anita Rastogi madam. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಓಂ ಶಾಂತಿ. ಈ ಎರಡು ಆತ್ಮಗಳಿಗೆ ಆ ದೇವರು ಶಾಂತಿನ ಕೊಡಲಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥಿಸೋಣ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಸೊ ಕಮ್ ಟು ದ ಟುಡೇಸ್ webinar, the interpersonal skills. We can't live like a famous sociologist Robinson. You know, heard about the sociologist and the social psychologist also we called the Professor Robinson. He wrote a book, How to Lead a Life in Society. But he not wrote that book living in the society. By living in the remote island, he wrote that book about how to lead a life in the society. But today's, in this pandemic era, it's very necessary that one, how we have to build up these relationship that is. Still, I am remembering in 20 years back, I watched that movie when I was pursuing the B.Ed course in the 98-99, one movie was released, Castaway. And that movie has got the Oscar award. And present after 20 years also, we remembering that movie because the same situations we are facing today in the pandemic era. So in today's sessions, our resource person will focus on how we have to build up, how we have to develop, how we have to maintain these interpersonal skills, both in the personal and as a professional, with giving importance to the teacher education scenario. So now I request Professor Prakash to give a welcome speech and as well as introduce our today's chief guest, Professor H.B. Vamadevappa sir. Over to Prakash.
Thank you, sir. Hello and namaste to one and all. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all. It is not what he is or even what he does that expresses the worth of a man, but what he is. This saying would express Dr. H.B. Vamadevappa in the true spirit what he is actually. After accomplishing a great deal of things and profusely contributing to the society, he remains humble and amicable. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome Dr. H.B. Vamadevappa sir for today's webinar. Sir, welcome you, sir. Now, I would like to welcome our CTEF National Chairman, Vice Chairman, and Treasurer, Secretary and EC members of our national chapter. Welcome all of you, sir. Now I extend my warm welcome to CTF Karnataka chapter pattern, Dr. R. Praveen sir, Chairperson Dr. M.R. Lakshmi Narayan sir, Vice President Dr. Yogesh and Dr. Ramesh, and our General Secretary Dr. KK Kavakeshwarji, Treasurer Dr. Shanti ma'am, and our senior beloved teacher, admin Dr. MM Patnishetty sir, and our all EC members of our Karnataka chapter. Welcome you all, sirs and madam. Now, I also extend my sincere welcome to delegates, senior principals of all TEIs, special invitees. I would like to welcome you all. My pleasure is doubled in introducing Dr. H.B. Vamadevappa. Famously, he is known as HVV to the participants. Dr. HVV is a renowned scholar, academician, educationist, and above all, a noble teacher. He retired as a principal of MM College of Education, Davangere, and presently, sir is serving as a special officer in Sri Jagadguru Taralbala Education Trust, Sirigere. He completed his MSc Botany from Karnataka University, Dharwad in 1980. He passed MEd from Mysore University with a second rank in 1984. He completed his PhD from Kuvempu University under the guidance of our teacher, Dr. MM Patnishetty from Kuvempu University. He started his career as a lecturer in MM College of Education. Later, worked as a reader, associate professor, and visiting professor at various institutions of Karnataka state. He has marked an edge for himself in the field of education psychology. He loved and admired by the students across the state of Karnataka for his unique teaching skills and ability. Many of the participants in the today's webinar are, I can proudly say, we are all the students of Professor H.V. Vamadevappa sir. He also has a wonderful experience in research. His contribution towards generation of quality research is tremendous. He has successfully guided 15 PhD students and 5 MPhil scholars. He has authored 15 books across various specialization in education and edited 2 books. He's one of famous book called Shaikshanika Manovignana, was very famous, and it has came from various editions. And he has also written and published many articles in national, international journals. And he's known for educational psychology, competitive vision, and he has given paper presentation at state, national, and international platforms, where later he has been honored with a number of prestigious awards. I can name one of them is he has awarded D.Litt from University of South America, USA in 2016. It's a crown for the teacher. He also holds membership with the renowned professional organizations in various capacities. He has rich experience of having served as a number of various committees and boards like BOS, BOEs, and coordination boards in various universities. His professional involvement with the state education and government institutions like PU Board, DACRT, ASOU, and all other organizations has witnessed the implementation of progressive measures and policies in the field of education. He has worked as a resource person and trained students, student teachers, professionals at a number of seminars, workshops, and conferences. Although he is retired, he is not tired. He is still actively involved in the activities of social concern. He is working in different capacities in a number of social services organizations, activities of social concern. He is working in different capacities in a number of social service organizations. With this brief introduction of my teacher, Dr. H.V. Vamadevappa. I would like to once again welcome you, sir. Heartfelt welcome, sir. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. KK. Over to KK, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Prakash ji, for giving welcome speech and brief introducing our today's resource person, Professor Vamadevappa sir. Now we all are waiting for the sir's presentation. Over to the Professor Vamadevappa sir. Today's topic is interpersonal skills. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Good morning to all of you. First, I would like to congratulate CTF for organizing webinars regularly during this COVID-19, especially Dr. Praveen, the patron of CTF Karnataka chapter, Chairperson Dr. Lakshmi Narayana, and Dr. Kavya Kishore, who have taken the lead in organizing the webinars throughout this year, especially in this COVID year, when we are not able to meet. I think it's a great platform for all the teachers, educators to come together and discuss the various matters related to the teacher education. And today, we are discussing on one of the important skill which every teacher educator should have, that is interpersonal skills. And as you all know, interpersonal skills involve the ability to communicate and build relationship with the others. We should have this. We should be able to communicate with our students, with the parents, with the other members in the society, and we should build good relationship with all these. That's why these interpersonal skills, also known as soft skills, life skills, and also they are called social skills. And they involve both your innate personality traits and how you have learned to handle certain social situations. So interpersonal skills does not mean something that we acquire everything from outside. That also involve your innate personality traits. How you are able to handle the certain social situations. That is also involved in the interpersonal skills. And the effective interpersonal skills can have a positive impact on your profession, especially in your career advancement, that play a very important role. In the work environment, strong interpersonal skills are like the assets that help the teacher educators or you to navigate your complexity, the changes on your day-to-day tasks. From that point of view, everyone, both in the professional and also in our daily life, we need to have the interpersonal skills. And why these interpersonal skills are important? You see, they help you to succeed almost in any job, any work that you are doing. That help you to understand the other people and adjusting your approach to work together effectively. That's why one American business magnate, John Rockefeller, he has said it clearly, I'll pay more for the ability to deal with people than for any other ability under the sun. You can see that plays a very important role. Your interpersonal skills play a very important role in the success of an individual than any other ability which we are having. We'll see that. From that point of view, each and every individual should have the interpersonal skills to get success in his life. And jobs that require interpersonal skills, if you see, and as we are all teachers, basically teachers need strong interpersonal skills, mainly to work with our colleagues, with our administrators, with our students, with the parents. I think with all these individuals, we need to interact. We need to discuss a lot of things. That is why interpersonal skills are very much essential for each and every teacher. Whether it is from primary to the postgraduate level, we require these interpersonal skills for the teachers. And also the administrative assistants, they require the interpersonal skills as they have to deal with the customers or their clients, So they have to interact with them regularly. And the nurses, especially who are looking after the comfort and care of the patients, they need to have a lot of patience and they need to have the empathy for the patients. That's why I think they need to have these interpersonal skills. And even our marketing managers, especially, they need a lot of soft skills or collaborative skills, as they have to work with their clients and the sales teams. So they also require these interpersonal skills. And mainly those who are working in the customer service, they need to have a lot of patience and empathy. And they should be active listeners, because when the customers put a lot of problems to these customer service agents, they need to listen to them carefully, cautiously, and they must try to solve their problems. From that point of view, the teachers, administrators, nurses, marketing managers, those who are working in marketing field, and the customer service, all of them should have these interpersonal skills. And as I told you, to get success in any field, the successful people build pleasing and magnetic personalities. This pleasing personality will help you to get a friendly cooperation from others. And the pleasing personality is apparent in the way a person walks and talks, in his tone of voice, the warmth in his behavior, and in his definite level of confidence that you can see in his pleasing personality. And that personality, pleasing personality, is a combination of the person's attitude, behavior, and our expressions. It depicts our attitude, our behavior, and our expressions. So that is why we should have a pleasing personality to have good interpersonal skills with us. And as you all know, life is an echo. That means if you show love and affection to others, in turn you can get the love and affection. If you hate others, in turn you will be hated by others. That's why we have to help others without expecting anything in turn. That means one does not have to do good with a desire to get it back. It happens automatically. I'll give you one incident here. In the last century, it happened in UK. One farmer was working in his garden, and when he was working in his garden, he heard a shouting that, save me, help, help," like this. Immediately he rushed to the spot, and there he has seen that a small boy was drowning in a pool of mud. Immediately he rushed to the spot and he saved the life of the small boy. The boy thanked the farmer and he went back. He told the same thing to his father. The next morning, a rich man in his chariot came to the hut of the farmer to thank him. He said, "Dear farmer, you have saved the life of my son. You ask me any amount of money that I'm ready to pay." Then he said, No. Whatever the help I did is a human help. I don't want to take any money for that. Immediately, the rich man asked, "So, dear farmer, you are having a small kid, small son. Please provide me an opportunity to give an education to your son." Then finally, the farmer accepted, "So that you can give education to my son." The same boy studied. He joined St. Mary's Medical College, London. He completed his medical degree and he did a lot of inventions. And he was the man who invented penicillin also. And later, the son of the rich man was suffering from pneumonia. He was hospitalized. During that time, the same son of the farmer went there and he saved the life of a son of a rich man who was suffering from pneumonia by using the penicillin that is invented by the Alexander Fleming. He saved the life of the son of a rich man. The same rich boy later became the Prime Minister of UK. He is Sir Winston Churchill. In this incident, we can understand that when we want to help others, we have to help without expecting anything in return. It just happens automatically. In this incident, probably you might have seen, he never knew that, I think, that you will get the help later. So that's why when we are helping others, whether it is our students or anything, anyone in public or a parent or anyone, when you are helping, don't expect anything from them. In that way, we need to help, and automatically we get the help in one or the other way. We'll see that. So that is why I think our life is like an echo. When we show the love and affection, certainly we can get the love and affection. And another thing that we can see here, we see the things not the way they are, but the way we are. Naturally, we do this. We want to filter everything from the point of view of ourselves, not as they are. We are not ready to accept as they are. We'll see that. I'll give one incident for this. I think one wise man who was just sitting outside a village, and a traveler came there, and he asked this wise man, I want to shift from that village to your village. What kind of people live in your village? Then the wise man said, why do you want this? He said, I want to shift to this village. Then the wise man asked the traveler, what kind of people live in that village? He said, there the people are very cruel, mean, and very rude behavior. That's why I want to leave that village, he said. Then the wise man said, even in this village also you'll find the same kind of people. Then I think that traveler went back. After a few hours, after a few minutes, so another traveler came from that village, asked the same question to a wise man. Dear wise man, what kind of people live in this village? Again, the wise man asked the same question. What kind of people live in the village that you lived so far? Then he said, they were very kind, they were polite, good, gentle people live in that village. Then the wise man said, even in this village also you will see the same kind of people. See here, from this incident, we can understand that we see the things not the way they are, but the way we are. We'll see that. So we want to filter everything from our point of view. We are not ready to accept as they are. We'll see that. Another important thing that is important in the interpersonal skills is the trust that we want to have. I believe all relationships are the trust relationships. There is especially between the student and teacher, between an employer and an employee, between a parent and a child, between a husband and a wife, between a buyer and seller, between a customer and a salesperson. In all these individuals, I think we need to have a trust relationship. And the trust results from trustworthiness, consistency, the respect that we give to others, and the caring attitude that we are having, and a congruence between the action and the words. Means many times we find some people, they say something and behave differently. In such a case, I think no one will believe such person. They do not practice what they preach. That's why I think the trust plays a very important role in developing good relationships with the others in the society or in a school or anywhere. We'll see that. That's why our relationships are like our bank accounts. That means the more we deposit, the greater they become. That means if you are going depositing more and more a month, you can withdraw money whenever you want. Without depositing, you cannot get anything. The same way in our life, if you give more and more love and affection to others, in turn you can get the love and affection. Without showing any love and affection, if you expect only love and affection from the others, you cannot get the love and affection. That's why our relationships are like our bank accounts. We have to deposit more and more. That means we have to show love and affection to the others in the society. Then only we can get it back. And the consequences of the poor relationships are the lack of trust. If you don't believe anyone, if you don't have a good relationship with the family members or in the school with the colleagues, then I think you will have a stress. You will have a lack of communication. You cannot communicate freely with the members of the family, nor with the colleagues, and that leads to distrust, prejudices, close-mindedness, and there is no cooperation among the members. You will be isolated, and there will be a conflict sometimes in our mind, and there will be no team spirit when you are not working together, when you are having no trust with the other members in the group. You'll see that. That's why I think we need to have a trusting relationship with the family members or with our colleagues. We'll see that. And another is factors that prevent building and maintaining positive relationships. Why we are not able to have a good relationships? Why we are not able to build good relationship with the others? It's the time for us to introspect ourselves. Do you have any of such qualities? So if you are having selfishness, if you have no courtesy, if you are not able to fulfill the commitments, if you are having rude behavior, if there is no honesty, if there is self-centeredness, negative attitude, egoistic behavior, so jealousy, if there are such characteristics with an individual, he can never establish a good relationship. He can never develop a good relationship either in the family or in the society or in the institutions. We'll see that. That's why in order to develop good and trusting relationship, we should not have such characteristics. We'll see that. Another is, now let us see how to build a positive personality and good interpersonal relations. It's very important. So how we can develop the good interpersonal relations. Responsible behavior is one important. Acceptance of responsibility is a reflection of our attitude. We need to accept responsibilities. Many times we have seen most people are quick to take credit when their things goes right. When everything is right, when there is success, they will say, I contributed to that, I worked there, that's why we got the success. But when things go wrong, no one will come forward to accept the responsibilities. So we need to accept responsibilities to develop a good interpersonal skills. Many times when we get failures, we shift the blame to others. When we do not accept responsibility, we shift the blame to the others. Maybe to our colleagues, maybe to our friends, maybe to our parents, or sometimes to the ill luck or our fate. We shift the blame. We are not ready to accept the failures, we'll see that. But the first thing is we need to accept responsibility. And the most important thing in responsibility is the social responsibility. As you all know, in our ancient Indian wisdom also, we have seen that our first responsibility is to the community. Second is to the family. And the third is to ourselves. But many times we find in the society, social responsibility ought to be the moral obligation of every citizen. We need to contribute something to society. When we achieve something in our life, it is not my personal benefit. So whatever the knowledge that I have gained, I should contribute it to society. So that is why social responsibility is most important for each and every one. That is why one of the sociologists has said, societies are not destroyed by the activities of the rascals, but by the inactivity of the good people. You might have seen that. We'll see that. Many a time we neglect them. We do not take the social responsibility. That's why I can give you one or two incidents, one or two examples where people have shown the social responsibility. So all of you have heard about this, I know. Probably Dr. Abdul Kalam, when he was the president of India, he visited one polio-affected children's school in Hyderabad. When he visited that school, he has seen small children who are struggling very hard to walk with their small legs by wearing the calipers, which weighs about 4 kgs. Because you have seen the legs of the polio-affected children. They are trying it very hard to walk with the heavy calipers. And then he thought that why can't we try and develop a lightweight calipers? Immediately he went back, he called all his colleagues, the scientists, and he said, I've come across such problem in a polio affected, with the polio affected children in Hyderabad. Let us try and come out with a new calipers. Within 3 months, all his friends, the scientists, worked together. They have developed a new set of calipers, and that weighs only about 400 grams, which is almost as strong as that of the 4 kg calipers. And with that 400 gram calipers, Abdul Kalamji had been to the school once again. He himself took those calipers to that school, and he allowed the children to wear and walk. He has seen that children are finding it very easy to walk with the new calipers. Then he was very happy. For the press persons, he said, the most happiest moment in my life is this. So I'm able to help the children who are finding it very hard to walk with the help of these lightweight calipers. So this is social responsibility. So we need to help the children when it is possible for us. We'll see that. Anyone. So when we are able to help, I think we should be able to help the people in the society. That way Abdul Kalam helped the polio affected children. Another example which I come across, probably I heard the name of S.M. Jamdar, an IAS officer in Karnataka. I think who did a lot of good work in many departments where he worked. Probably you might have heard about his early life. He is from a very normal middle class family. When he was studying in Dharwad, in Karnataka College, I think he was living in a small room. He has shared a room with his friends, and it was very difficult for him to get the food. In such a situation, he has completed his BA and MA in psychology. After completing MA in psychology, he has written an entrance exam in Oxford University. He got a seat for PhD, fellowship for PhD in Oxford University. He went there. He joined PhD with one of the great professors to complete his PhD there. By that time, he has written a UPSC examination in India. Probably has started the PhD work. After 6 months, he has passed this IAS in India. Then he was in a dilemma, whether to go and join a job in India or to complete PhD in Oxford University. He went to his professor and asked, Sir, I'm in a dilemma, whether to complete PhD here or to go back and work in India. He said, his professor said, you are working in a great university. If you work here, you learn a good name and fame. You can do a lot of good work in the field of psychology. Certainly you can earn a good name and you can earn money also. But at the same time, you can think that you are from a poor country and you are saying that you are from a poor family. When you go and work there, certainly you can help a people like you. That's why it's up to you. You can think and decide. The next day, you can tell me whether you want to continue a PhD with me or you want to go back to India to work. The next day, Jamdar thought that it is better to go and work in India to help the people of my country. That's why next day he stopped his PhD work and immediately came back to India to take a job in India to serve the people of India. That is social responsibility. So like this, I think we have seen so many such examples where the people have sacrificed their life for the society. That's why Swami Vivekananda has said, they alone live who live for others, the rest are more dead than alive. When we are there to help others, then only our life will be meaningful. Otherwise, if it is only for us, I think we are more dead than alive. We'll see that. That's why I think we need to have this. We need to accept social responsibility. Then only we can have a good relationship with the society. That's why I think everyone should have this social responsibility. Another point that we need to consider is to have a good interpersonal skills. You must be able to show consideration to others. You must have courtesy, politeness, and a caring attitude to the others, those who are with us, whether it is our family members or the other members in the society. I'll give you one example for this. Long back in 1970, a couple from India, they were in search of a job. They could not get any job in their place. One of them offered a job in Dubai. They went to Dubai. They were not educated. So they have to work he worked as a driver, and his wife joined the job of Aya in an hospital. Both of them worked very hard. He joined there as a driver, but within 10 years, with his hard work, he has purchased vehicle on his own, and he started one travels company. He earned a lot of money. Then he thought that if I was educated, I could have got a better job in this country or in my country. That's why I should go and help my people. That's why in 1997, he came back to India to start a school in his village. And even today, in that school, 200 girls are provided free education. 200 girls are provided free education every year. And again, he went back to Dubai. He has given a good education to his children. They too started earning. Again, he came back and he started an hospital in his village. In this example, but we have seen there are so many people in our country who have gone to the Western countries, states, and the other countries with the high education, with their medical education, engineering education. They went to that country, but no one came back to help the people of this country or their village. We'll see that. But this uneducated person who has not got any education, who worked there was as a driver, and his wife as an ayah, they have earned money, and he thought that I should show consideration to my people. I should have a caring attitude to the people of my village. So this kind of attitude is very much required to have a good relationship with the society. Will see that. Another is that we should have a strategy of win and win strategy. All of you know win, lose strategies, you all know. We should never think that I should win and the other should lose. Both should win. So group success is emphasized here. That means here, for example, win-win means, especially in cooperative games, in cooperative sector, when we are working together, as we all work together, we share the work, we achieve something, all of them will be benefited. There is no question of win-lose. Especially in some factories, we find if the employees are working in a factory, if all the people are working with dedication, if the factory makes profit, both employer and employees will be benefited. This is win-win strategy. We'll see that. Both of them should win. Suppose when I am working in a teacher education institute, if I work hard, if I work with my dedication, if all my colleagues work with my dedication, certainly we prosper and our college get a good name. In turn, we will be benefited. So all of them will be benefited. So this is win-win strategy. But whereas in some cases we find in some factories, due to the non-cooperation of the employees or the workers, sometimes the factories have to close down. In such cases, we think that the workers are thinking that only the employers are benefited. That's why I think they don't want to cooperate with them. Ultimately, when the factory is closed, both of them should suffer. That is why we should follow the win-win strategy, especially the cooperative nature we should have. I think even in our families, with our employees, we should have that win-win the strategy, we'll see that. And the next is, when you are talking with others, choose your words carefully. Our words play a very important role when we are discussing with others, when we are talking, because words reflect our attitude. Sometimes our words will hurt the feelings, and even they destroy the relationships with the others. It doesn't mean we should talk more. Sometimes the excessive talking does not mean a good communication. We have to talk less and we have to say more. That's why I think usually you might have heard about this. A fool speaks without thinking, a wise man thinks before speaking. This is required. We have to think before we speak. We should not think after we speak. So that is why we should select the words, choose the words. We should motivate others, especially with our students. We should motivate our students. They should be able to get success in their life. That way, you should encourage them. Even your children or the students in the college, school will see that. That's why I think selection of words is very important. The another aspect is, don't criticize and complain. Don't criticize any individual unnecessarily with negative words. If you want to criticize, criticize with a spirit of helpfulness rather than to put them down. If you see, for criticizing the others, you criticize like a coach. Probably you all know what the coaches will do. The coaches will criticize the players in order to help them, not to hurt their feelings. In order to help them, in order to improve their performance, they are criticizing the players. That's why if you are criticizing someone, criticize like a coach. And your attitude while criticizing must be corrective rather than punitive. Our attitude, our criticize should not be for punishing, is mainly to correct their mistakes. And be specific while criticizing. Don't give vague criticism. That leads to resentment. That's why specifically comment on that. Whatever the mistake that is there, clearly specify what limitations are there, what mistakes are there, what things you need to correct. That way you have to give them. Don't give vague criticism, will see that. And another is, always try to criticize in private, not in public. For example, if someone has done a mistake, call him privately, talk to him. If you want to criticize him in private and tell him to correct those mistakes. So don't criticize in public to hurt the feelings of the others. Another is, before criticizing others, give the other person an opportunity to explain his side. Without listening to his words, don't go on criticizing the others. And another is, always we have to criticize the performance and not the performer. We should not criticize, we should criticize the performance. If there is any mistake in the performance, if there is any limitation in the performance, we need to criticize the performance and not the performer. Criticism is like a giving medication. That means here, when you are criticizing, that should be able to cure the problems. So that way it should work like a medication. And always in a criticism, close your criticism with a positive note with appreciation. Don't pass comments, don't hurt their feelings. Always close your criticism with a positive note and with appreciation. Certainly, there are mistakes. You can do better. You can achieve greater things later. That way, you need to motivate them, not just criticizing or hurt the feelings of the others. And the other aspect is, smile and be kind. So, all you know, cheerfulness flows from our goodness. It's easier to smile than to frown, as we know. That's why a smile is contagious. If you are having a smiling feeling, smiling face, all your children smile at you. It's an inexpensive way. A smiling face is always welcome. That is why don't have a frown face when you enter the class. Always greet children with a smiling face. Then certainly you can get the a smiling face of the students. Another is put positive interpretation on other people's behavior. Many a time, in the absence of the sufficient facts, we put a negative interpretation on others' actions. But we should not do that immediately without knowing the cause behind that. We have a better chance of building a pleasing personality and good relationships if we try to understand what is there behind that. Sometimes, just for an example, if you say, we put a call to our friend and we could not get a reply. If we do not reply within 1 or 2 days, probably you feel that he has ignored me, he never cared to call me. That way, always we think in a negative sense. But we never think that he might have tried, he could not get, or he may be out of station, he may be in some other problem. We never think like that. That is why always think in a positive way and not in the negative way about the other persons. You'll see that. That's why just without a sufficient fact, we should not have a negative interpretation on the other people's behavior. And another most important thing in these interpersonal skills is be a good listener. Listening shows you are caring and caring attitude towards the other person. So you must be a good listener. Before giving any opinion to others, first listen to their words. Careful listening is important. When you are listening to the other, encourage the speaker to speak. Don't interrupt. Ask questions to show interest. Related questions, if you put, then certainly the speaker will be motivated. Don't change the topic unnecessarily. Pay attention when you are listening to someone. Concentrate. Show empathy for the speaker. Be open-minded to accept the views of the speaker. Recognize the non-verbal communication. Even the non-verbal communication, recognize the non-verbal communication, we'll see that. So another is that, because many I think they want to convey with the non-verbal expressions. So everything cannot be conveyed only with words. So you should observe carefully to see the non-verbal communication. And sometimes listen to the feelings, not just the words. So you should be a good listener. Then only you are able to have a good relationship with the others. And then be enthusiastic. I think Emerson has said, nothing great is ever achieved without the enthusiasm. Enthusiasm and success always go hand in hand. Because enthusiasm inspires our confidence, it raises our morale, it builds loyalty. You can feel enthusiasm by the way a person talks, walks, or shakes his hands. So you must have an enthusiastic feeling. If you are having enthusiasm, certainly you can work for long hours. You will not get tired. I think you are able to achieve something in your life if you are having that enthusiasm. Give honest and sincere appreciation. So have good relationship. Is one important thing. One of the deepest desires of human beings is the desire to be appreciated. The feeling of being unwanted is hurtful. Always try to appreciate the others. Probably you might have heard the other statement by the Somerset Maugham. He has said, many a time people ask for a criticism but wants praise only. He said, that means here everyone needs to be appreciated. Sincere appreciation is one of the greatest gifts that you can give the another person. You have to appreciate whenever they achieve something, whenever you see the success, you must be able to appreciate others. Your appreciation must be specific. What they have achieved, to that I think you need to appreciate, and appreciation must be immediate. For example, one person has got the rank, medal, or some award, immediately you need to appreciate him. After a few months or after a few days, if you see, they do not have any effect. So immediate appreciation is important. Another is your appreciation must be sincere. That means it must come from your heart, not from your words. Just in a word, though you are not, those you don't want to show any appreciation, sometimes they show the appreciation in the words. That should not be. Another is when you are appreciating someone, don't qualify the praise with a but. Just you'll see. You did a good thing, but you could have done better. This should not be. When you are appreciating someone, straight away, you appreciate them, encourage them. And after giving appreciation, don't wait for a compliment in return. Many times we find when they show appreciation, they want it in turn to say thanks again, we'll see that. That should not be. So don't go for that, we'll see that. When we make a mistake, we should accept it immediately and willingly. Then certainly, I think there are people who try to defend their mistakes. That should not be. Whenever we make a mistake, when we realize it, we should accept immediately. So I think that will be forgotten easily. I think everyone will accept us when we accept our mistakes. Another is when the other person also realizes and admits the mistake, congratulate him, accept him. Don't hurt. If you do not accept him, we are hurting the self-esteem. That's why even we should accept our mistake, one thing. Another is when the other person realizes his mistake and he admits that, you try to accept him, congratulate him for accepting the mistake, so that I think he is able to correct it later. So that way, then only you can have a good relationship with them. And another is when you want to clarify something, when you want to share your ideas, don't argue with the others, discuss with them. If you want to accomplish great things in the life, you must have that maturity. If you are having maturity, you will not be entangled in unimportant things or the petty arguments. Probably you know that. So an argument throws a heat, a discussion throws a light. An argument stems from ego and a closed mind, whereas discussion comes from the open mind. An argument is an exchange of ignorance, whereas a discussion is an exchange of knowledge. An argument is an expression of temper, whereas a discussion is an expression of logic. And in an argument, usually we try to prove who is right, whereas in a discussion, we try to prove what is right. Especially when you want to discuss with others, be open-minded, listen to the other person's point of view, ask questions to clarify if you want to discuss anything with them. And sometimes when you are discussing with them, be flexible on petty things, but not on principles. Stick on to your principles, but flexible on petty things. And when you are discussing, use soft words, but hard arguments. But don't use hard words and soft arguments. So always, I think, you must use these soft words. Discuss and clarify anything that you want to clarify with the others. Don't go for the argument. This argument breeds contempt. I think you'll be away from that, resentment. So that is why always we should discuss with others. Then only we'll have a good relationship with our colleagues or with the others. I think you need to discuss the things so that you will have a good relationship. Another important aspect, we should not go for the gossip. Especially there are people who are very much interested in gossiping. Remember, people who gossip with you about others also gossip about you in your absence. That's why don't involve in gossiping with your friends or anyone who want to gossip with you. That's why I think someone has said it clearly. Small people talk about the other people. Mediocre people talk about the things, whereas great people talk about the ideas. There are small people always talking about the other people. They are wasting their time in talking about the other people. We'll see that. This gossip breaks the hearts, it ruins lives, it tarnishes reputations, it topples governments, it wrecks marriages many times, it ruins careers, gossips. It makes the innocent people cry. It has led to the heartaches and sleepless nights many times for some people. That is why refrain yourself from indulging in gossip. Don't indulging in gossip. Never gossip. Never allow anyone to gossip with you. Then certainly they will keep away from you. So we should not go for the gossiping if you want to have a good relationship with the others. Another is turn promises into your commitments. Promise is a statement of intent. Commitment is a promise that we need to keep. Commitment comes out of our character and it leads to conviction. I think you know that if there is no commitment, so what kind of relationship would be there between a husband and wife, between an employer and employee, between a parent and a child, between a student and teachers? We need to have a good relationship. In order to have a good relationship, we need to have a commitment. When we make some promise, we should be committed to that promise. We should be able to try to fulfill that. And this commitment leads to enduring relationship. If you are having commitment with the others, that relationship will be there for a longer period. And we should be grateful, but do not expect gratitude. Gratitude is a feeling of thankfulness toward others. When someone helped us, we need to thank them. So it's not just reciprocal. It's not just a give and take. We should not expect gratitude. But when someone helped you, say thanks to them. Simple thank you, maybe a gracious there, we'll see that. But sometimes, many a time, we forget to be thankful to our people closest to us, even to our spouse, our relatives, our friends, or anyone who helped us, we'll see that. That's why think back and try to recall the people who had a positive influence on your life. Many of them, your parents, your teachers, anyone who has spent an extra time to help you. Perhaps many times you feel that they just did their job. Not really. They willingly sacrificed their time, effort, and many other things with you. And they did it out of love and affection for you, not to get a thank from you. Perhaps it's not too late to thank them. We need to thank all those who helped us, who sacrificed their life, who sacrificed their time and money for us. It is our parents, teachers, and the other members in the family or in the society. Any of them who helped us, it's the time for us to thank them. And many times we find, especially during COVID-19, many of them came voluntarily. They helped the poor and the jobless people with the food and other items during the COVID-19 without any expectation from them. That way we'll see that. Without any expectation, they are helping them. But there are other kind of people who expect gratitude. I think one of my friend who is working in a press, he said, there are some people who are helping the poor people by donating a food and other items for 500 rupees. And they want to put that food in a newspaper by paying 1,500 rupees. You'll see that. That way, there are people who want gratitude in turn. Their help is very little, but they want gratitude from this society. But there are people who help a lot without expecting anything from this society. There are such people. Really, they are the great persons who are doing a great work, especially during this COVID-19, and they are helping the people. We'll see them. Because I've seen I'm working in one organization in Karnajiva Kalyan Trust, Davangere. There many of the friends joined together and we have formed one trust here, especially during the COVID. Nearly for 6 months, every day we used to provide food for 100 poor and the people who are suffering on the roadside. We see that. That way, I think many of them came forward to help at that time. Without any expectation, many of the public came forward and helped the poor people. That way, I think we need to help them without expecting the gratitude from them. And be dependable. And we need to practice loyalty. ability is important, but dependability is important. I think usually you know that a person may be having a lot of ability, but he is not dependable. No one wants to have him with him. You'll see that. No one wants to develop a good relationship with him. That's why I think we should be, by having our ability, we should be dependable also. And good relationships are hard to find, but once we develop a good relationship, we need to nurture them. We need to keep that. Many times we say we are having friends for last 30 years, 50 years like this. So we need to nurture that friendship. For that, we need to make some personal sacrifices to our family, friends, and those who care and who depend on us. You'll see. That's why I think in order to have a good relationships, be dependable for the members. And avoid bearing grudges. Don't have any grudges. Sometimes, knowing or unknowingly, some of them have done a mistake. They troubled us. But you need to forgive them. Don't lock the doors. So when you don't hold grudges about the people. When you hold grudges, you are not hurting him, you are hurting for yourselves. That is why whenever you find any mistake with the others, you need to forgive them, forget it. But don't forget the people. John Kennedy has said, forgive the other person, but don't forget their name. Why he has said this is, don't be cheated by the same person again. It's quite natural we may be cheated by some people in our life, but don't be cheated once again by the same people. So that's why don't forget their name. Forgive the person when he has committed a mistake, when he cheated you, forgive him for the first time, but don't be cheated by the same people. That way, I think we should not bear the grudges whenever we come across such people. Whether it is our children may commit mistake, someone in our students may commit mistake. We should not bear grudges about such children or the students will see. Practice honesty, integrity, and sincerity. It's very important. Honesty inspires openness, reliability, and the frankness. So sometimes I think we should be honest to ourselves, not just to show it to others. Because I think sometimes in a match, we may win a trophy by cheating others. But you know that how you have won this match. You will not be happy with that, we'll see it. So honesty is most important. I will give you one incident for this. This is a story. One bakery owner who used to purchase a pound of bread from a farmer every day. 1 pound of butter he used to purchase every day from a farmer. One day, every day I think farmer used to supply it to the baker. One day the baker got the doubt. Probably this butter may not weigh 1 pound. Yes, he weighed it and he has seen that there is a shortage of the butter for 1 pound. And that baker took this farmer to the court. When the judge inquired, how did you weigh a butter? For the farmer he asked. Farmer said, I don't have a right kind of measure. But one thing what I did is, I used to purchase 1 pound of bread from the baker for many days. For many years, I used to purchase 1 pound of bread from the baker. And every day, when I go there to the bakery to give the butter, I ask him to give me 1 pound of bread. He used to bring 1 pound of bread, he used to keep it on a scale. Then he used to give the same amount of butter to the baker. He said, so if there is any mistake in the weight, that is of the baker, because of the same weight of the 1 pound bread, I have given a butter. That's why it's not my mistake, he said, farmer said. Then you can understand here, the honesty is not there with the baker there, will see that. It's not just the farmer. So farmer is crudely measuring. So whatever the baker has given, the same way he used to give it. That's why I think we need to When we are honest, then only we can expect honesty from others. So that is why sincere and honesty should be there with us first, then only we can expect it from the others. So that is why honesty is the most important thing that is essential in maintaining good relationship with the others. Another is humility. Humility is the foundation of all virtues. We should have this humility. It is a sign of greatness. Sincere humility attracts a lot of people. And for that, you might give one or two incidents. I think in 1960, John F. Kennedy was the president of USA. I think he declared a war against Vietnam because of the difference of opinion. He has to declare a war against Vietnam. And he thought that many of them in USA, they thought that Vietnam was is a small country. We could complete the war in about 3 days. But later they realized that the Vietnam War continued for 3 years. During that period, many of the wounded soldiers were hospitalized and many of them lost their lives. Then John Kennedy wants to visit the hospitals to say thanks to these wounded soldiers and to encourage them, to thank them. He went there. He wanted to speak to one of the wounded soldier. His eyes were wounded. He was not able to open his eyes. Then he said, John Kennedy said, he never said that I am the president of USA. He inquired that soldier and he said, can I help you in any way to that soldier? The soldier said, I think I want to write a letter to my mother. Can you help me? Immediately, John Kennedy sat there to write a letter to a soldier. Soldier narrated the whole incident. I'm happy with this. Though I lost my eyes, I struggled for this country. I think he said, we are having a great leader for our country, John Kennedy. And we struggled hard. And certainly we win this war. Like that he said. And he said to his mother, you look after my wife and the children. You get them good education. And later, you send my children to an army in USA, he said. I think Kennedy was very happy with that. And finally, he has written a letter there, letter written by John F. Kennedy. Then a doctor has given a permission to that wounded soldier, to open his eyes for 10 minutes in a day. Then soldier asked Kennedy, can I read this letter that is written by you? Then he said, no, you can't open your eyes. No, he said, no, doctor has permitted me to open eyes for 10 minutes in a day. I want to read it. If there is anything to add, I want to add, he said. Then he said, okay, you can read. So after reading the letter, he came to know that the letter is written by the president of USA. He's very happy and he want to salute them. Then Kennedy said, no, it's not the time for you to salute. It's time for me to salute you because you served this country like this. So this is the humility that we have seen in a great persons like John Kennedy. In another example, I think when a rider, he was moving, he is passing through a forest area. A small group of soldiers, they were trying to move a heavy log in a forest. A corporal was standing by them, he was just giving orders. The rider asked the corporal, why can't you help them? So that I think the log can be moved. He said, no, I'm the corporal. I give only orders, he said. Then rider dismounted the horse and he helped the soldiers to move the log. Then when he was going there back, he asked the corporal, whenever you are having such problem, please call Commander-in-Chief of this country. Later they came to know that it is George Washington. So the great people like Kennedy, George Washington, Gandhiji, many of them, we find there's a great humility that we find in such people. We'll see that everyone should have this kind of humility in our life. We'll see. Another is we must be understanding and caring people. So we should be many times in all our relationships we make mistakes. Sometimes we are insensitive to the needs of the other people, especially those who are close to us, even to our family members or children. We do not try to understand them. So there is more gratification being a caring person. So you must have a caring attitude to become a nice person. Caring attitude builds a goodwill, and that will you can build confidence in the people, in the family or in a school or a college, anywhere you'll see that if you are having a caring attitude, then certainly they will have a confidence in you. And then only you can have a good rapport with the students. They can come and discuss things freely with you. So this kind of understanding and caring attitude should be there with each and every one to have a good relationship. And practice courtesy on a daily basis. I think courtesy is most important, especially to the, is nothing more than consideration. Courtesy may be small sacrifices. For example, when you are traveling in a train or a bus, giving a seat to an elderly person, giving a seat to a disabled one, or greet someone with a warm smile, saying thank you. So this way, you need to show a courtesy in your daily life. Every day, you need to follow this and show courtesy to this. And courtesy means practicing good manners. Courteous behavior, once learned, will be stays for a life, you'll see. That means caring attitude and sensitive to the people of the feeling of other people. That's why you need to have good manners. You need to have a courtesy for the others. Then only I think you will be accepted easily in the society, and you will be you'll be a social being in society. Another is the develop a sense of humor. Have a sense of humor, and you will possess the ability to laugh at yourself. Only when you are having a sense of humor, you will be a likable person, and you will be an attractive one. Especially when you are laughing, learn to laugh at yourself, not at others. Don't laugh at others, because the safest humor is learning to laugh at yourself. That gives you energy to bounce back. Many a time I think people are laughing at others, make fun of others. That should not be. We should be able to laugh at ourselves, not at others. Will see. Another is don't be sarcastic. Many a time we find the people who are passing sarcastic remarks and they put others down. Negative people's humor includes sarcasm. Because many a time we find, for example, if you see a small boys during the rainy season, you might have seen, they are throwing stones at the frogs just to have a fun. The boys' fun means a death to frogs. It's not a fun to frogs, we'll see. So hurting others' feeling can be cruel. Some people get their fun by putting others down. By passing sarcastic remarks, they get pleasure. Some people take pleasure in giving trouble to others. So don't do that. Pessimistic nature. With some pessimistic nature, they want to give trouble to others and they take pleasure with you. That should not be. This sarcasm alienates people. That's why. So we should have this humble nature and humility that we should have. We should not pass sarcastic remarks for the others. Don't put the others down. And to have a friend, be a friend. This is most important. Always we expect we should have a right employer, we should have a right employee, I should get a good spouse, we should have a good children partner like this. But we forget that we have to be the right person too. In order to get the right employer, right employee, right spouse, first we should be the right person. So that is why to get a good friend, first we should have that friendliness. Many a time you'll see that some people change the jobs, saying that there are problem in one job, they go to another job. Again, there also you'll find some other job. In a similar way, if you leave one friend, you go with some other friend, then also you'll find some problems. You need to adjust well with them. You need to make sacrifices. Building relationships make sacrifices. Loyalty, maturity. If you are having selfishness, that destroys your friendships. That's why you need to have a true friendship. Probably in friendship, we are having three kinds of friendship. Some of them will make friendship just for the pleasure, just to get entertainment or fun, to go for party, entertainment. They want to have a friendship. And some of them will have a friendship only for their convenience, to gain favors for their work, to get something from them. They want to have the friendship. The last one is true friendship. This is based on our mutual respect and admiration. Mutual respect is important. You must understand your friend very well. Probably you might be knowing a true friend is one who knows all about you and still likes you. I think there are such people who knows all about you and still likes you, means he's the real friend, is the true friend. That kind of friendship we should have. We'll see that. I think the true friends will stand with us even in the adverse situations. That way, I think we want such friends who will be with us even in adverse situations. So then only we'll have a good relationship with the others. And the last one, empathy. The most important thing in our relationship is empathy. I think this is one of the important component of the emotional intelligence. So it's a very important characteristic of our positive personality. People with empathy, we need to ask this question: how would I feel if someone treated me that way? Then only we feel in the different. We treat the others in a different. And sympathy and empathy, both are there. We should be sympathetic also. When we share your sorrows, it divides. When you share happiness, it multiplies. That is why we should be able to share our happiness with others. And also, when you share your sorrows with others, it divides. It reduces. So sympathy means I understand how you feel. But empathy means we all know that I feel how you feel. Empathy means putting ourselves in the position of others to experience their feeling. So we are putting ourselves in the shoes of others, they say, usually. That means here, in their position, we are there to understand their feelings or the problems. When we empathize with our customers, employers, employees, and families, our relationships will improve. It generates a good understanding, loyalty, a peace of mind, and higher productivity. So that is why. So all these the important aspects that we follow in our life, certainly we are able to develop good interpersonal relations. As you all know, there's one of the important life skill, a social skill that we need to have, especially those who are in teacher education. So we need to have a good relationship with our students. We need to motivate them. We should be a model to them, because later they need to practice the same thing when they go to schools, when they become teachers. That's why, as teacher educators, if we are able to follow this, if we are empathetic, if we are having patience, if we not bear grudges, if we are able to forgive them, if we are having social responsibility, with these, if we are a good listener, if you are able to discuss something with others, if you are having these qualities with us, certainly I think we are able to develop good interpersonal relations. With these interpersonal relationships, you will be an accepted member in the society. You are able to contribute something to society. My view is not only to achieve something great in my life by building a good building or a car or achieving some great degree, higher degrees, not that. So what I contribute to the society is most important. From that point of view, these social skills or interpersonal skills play a very important role in the life of a teacher educator, in the life of any individual for that matter. It may be a common public or a teacher at any level or a teacher educator. We need to practice these things in our life so that I think we are able to have a good impact on our learners. We need to have a good impact on our teacher trainees so that I think you will be a successful teacher educator and we can contribute something to society. With these words, I think I'll try to conclude my words, especially regarding these interpersonal skills. If anything, you need to clarify or share something, contribute something. Certainly, there are some great learned friends in this session. They can contribute, they can share ideas. I think with that, we can continue, I think. Thank you, Bhavakishore.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for giving the nice presentation. My points I will continue after discussing the participants' doubts, opinion, or if anything they wanted to share.
Okay. Guraj?
Dear participants, now it's time for the discussion. If anyone you want to be ask any questions or any clarifications or any suggestions on this present topic, what our resource persons were presented, please post your questions or doubts in the chat box. So in this today's session, it's somewhat like the Sammilana of Guru Shishya.
Yes, right.
Vamdappa sir is teacher for the many number of friends, and Dr. Patan Shetty sir is a teacher of Vamdappa sir.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. All are here.
So, yes, sir.
And all are good friends.
Guru Shishya Matte Guru.
Yes.
So now I request to Patan Shetty sir. Sir, may I audible?
Audible.
Yes.
Yes. Please express your view on the present, today's presentation, sir.
Yes. Dr. Ramdev has given good information to the teacher educators who will be guiding their B.Ed students and M.Ed students also. Because these are important points in our life where one has to follow all this information. Hence, I congratulate Dr. Ramadevappa for selecting this topic. Even though it is a general topic, but it is necessary for teacher educators. So he has taken good. I congratulate Ramadevappa once again.
Okay, thank you, sir. So before going for the next session, it's my duty to focus on this presentation. In the interpersonal skills, sir started with the what is interpersonal skill. So why this interpersonal skill is required, needed, especially in present situation scenario. These interpersonal skills are we especially need in both the personal life also and as well as the professional life also. While giving the how to build this positive personality. So we have to imbibe the positive psychological factor, then automatically negative psychological factor will be the decline. In there, sir, start with accept the responsibility. This is very important, whether in the teacher education institutions or in the social life or personal life, whatever it may be. And then, sir, giving the second point about the social responsibility, mention the example about the IAS officer Jamdar, sir. So one credits we have to give these IAS officers, especially the development of the Karnataka or Uttar Karnataka or Kalyana Karnataka. These IAS officers did a very grateful job. Take example to Professor Nanjun-Swami. These IAS officers, President Nanjunde Varadhi, this is for only the Karnataka, especially for the backward talukas in Karnataka state. And sir worked as a special officer for in the Baso Kalyan also and as well as in the Karnataka University also. And sir telling about giving example about in the social responsibility, sir running a one NGO organizations in the Davangere, sir gave his example in the how in a lockdown period, sir helped in the poor people or who required and as well as the needed. Well, continuing his presentation, the think and as well as win. So we should not think for the win. We have to think about the work and automatically what in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna Paramatma expressed about this one. So what I did the karma, definitely I will get the fulfillment and as well as the result. So don't think about the result. Think about the karma. And same in the 12th century, the what the Sharana, they are told about this work is worship. Kayakave, the Kailasa. And then sir has quoted the very beautiful thought. They alone live who live for others. They alone live who live for others. And the rest are more dead than live. the Swami Vivekananda's very meaningful thoughts in present scenario, and choose your words carefully, whether you are interacting with the students, interacting with the head of the institutions or the faculty member, or in the kids, or in the so many different relationship in our life. And don't criticize. And if you want to be criticized, criticize like a coach, because we all are traveling in the same boat, teacher, educator. During the demonstration, some faculty members, how they criticize the who did the presentation, whether in the micro teaching, whether in the practice teaching, or in the demonstration. So we are giving the feedback, not feed killing. So we have to support them motivationally and as well as emotionally, that one. And put positive interpretation and other people behavior. That is, some people are always act like as a fault finder. Don't be a fault finder. Once upon a time, I am also start with the alphabet A. So now come to the at the Z, that is. So you have to motivate them. And then be a good listener and to become an effective leader. If you want to become a leader, of course, the teacher is a leader of a classroom, and principal is the leader of the head of the institutions, and as well as the leader of the nations also. That is, if you want to become a leader, effective leader, you must be a very good listener. That is, and be enthusiastic, discuss, but don't argue. We have to discuss openly, discuss with the faculty member, discuss with the family members, discuss with the friends. And you have to listen what their opinion. You have to share and as well as you care. What I know, I must share about this one. And be grateful, but do not expect the gratitude. Be dependable and practice the loyalty also. And avoid bearing the grudges. This is very, very important. Forgive and forget, but don't forget the relationship. This is also very necessary. All the points what the sir has explained, these points are very required for the personality development for all us, not only the learners, not only the teachers, not only the teacher educators, as a human being. From animal to human being, if you want to be, we have to cultivate all these things and be open up with what nowadays in the software field they are using this term, think 360-degree angle. Why we have to think in software field? In our classroom also we have to think in the 360-degree angle. In the classroom situation, all the 900 students are listening your lesson. One student is sleeping. Who is responsible for that one? I am the responsible for that one. And we have to don't target those particular the students. So therefore, we have to reach the unreach the students. We have to reach the unreach the persons. So then only we can success in our profession also. And practice honesty, integrity, sincerity. In all the field, we require these costly terminologies. We have to start with our side, and then we have to accept from the opposite person. And practice humility and be understanding and caring, the manners, and as well as quotes that one develop a sense of humor. This is also very important. That is, ತಲೆಗೆ ಎರಳೆಣ್ಣೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಂಗೆ ಇರಬಾರ್ದು ನಾವು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಹೋದಾಗ. that learner, they have to open up. They can without any hesitation, without any fear factor, they have to ask the doubts, and they have to be the clear, clarify their particular the doubts or the questions and all the thing. And the lastly, sir conclude that be optimistic, have a friend, be a friend, and be a right person, and then maintain a very good right relationship in both the personal and as well as the professional life. Thank you very much for giving these informations for again imbibing, cultivating, developing the very good, pleasant personality. Because for become a personality development, that is both the dress and as well as the address is very important. For example, the best the Sir Radhakrishnan ji and as Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan sir, and as well as our Prime Minister, and even the Mahatma Gandhi ji, and as well as Swami Vivekananda or the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So there are main personalities are in front of us, and we have to be the follow, we have to cultivate and develop, and we have to become a role model to our learners, our faculties, our teachers, and as well as our family members also. Thank you, sir. And we are in the last stage. Now I request our CTF Karnataka chapter chairperson, Dr. M.R. Lakshmi Narayan sir, give the vote of thanks. Over to Dr. MRL sir. Sir.
Thank you, Dr. KK. It's my privilege to propose vote of thanks to Dr. Vamadevappa sir, because he is very intimate, very close friend of us. Of course, he is our senior teacher, senior friend, we can call it as. But I have an attachment with Dr. Vamadevappa sir, maybe since around 20 to 25 years.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
but earlier to that, yeah, even when I was studying B.Ed, that was in 1991, we heard about the Dr. Vamadevappa because he is not only a good classroom teacher, but he is a practitioner. Whatever he preach, that he practice. That is why we love Vamadevappa too much, because though he is out of Bangalore, but always we feel Vamadevappa is with us in Bangalore because he is always having very good contact with all the teacher educators, irrespective of whether the B.Ed colleges are belong to aided or government or unaided. He is very near and dear friend of all of us. And he is a very good educationist at national level. And he has given wonderful lectures and like this in many times, because we heard him a number of times on number of occasions. Whenever we used to conduct any seminars and conferences at state and national level, we do not forget Vamadevappa sir to become a resource person for one of the session. So whenever the chapters or topics that related to the sir, are you able to listen to me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Whenever we remember the concepts of psychology or topics related to psychology, immediately the mind goes to the call Dr. Vamadevappa to be the resource person, because not only we like or we adore the or appreciate the knowledge of Dr. Vamadevappa, but he is a very lovely man. Very because we always keep him in our heart whenever the opportunity. Sir.
ಸರ್ ಎಕೋ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹಲೋ, ನೀವು ಎರಡು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ?
ಇಲ್ಲ
ಎಕೋ.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
No sir, no, it's echo.
But of course I opened only in mobile. I am talking now.
We are able to hear.
Yes,
only
continue.
Through the mobile screen I am talking.
Continue sir.
Okay. So on this occasion, Dr. Vamadevappa accepted our invitation to be the resource person for today's session.
ಎರಡು ಫೈಲ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಸರ್?
Maybe can I disconnect and open again?
Sir, no sir, in mobile itself you open 2 file.
Yeah, please wait. Now is it okay?
Okay.
Hello, Dr. KK, is it okay now? Hello?
Yes sir.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. On this occasion, I am very happy to propose vote of thanks to Dr. Vamadevappa, because wholeheartedly he accepted our invitation today. He gave a very good innovative lecture, that too on the interpersonal skills, because this interpersonal skill related information is very much required, especially during the COVID season.
Yes.
Because until and unless we have a very good personal relation, communication, we cannot go ahead with our respect to online or offline classes at present. So it is a very pertinent topic, because we gave him a freedom to select the topic also. So yes. Dr. Vamadevappa selected a very good topic for today, and of course it is very much required in the present situation. So on this occasion, on behalf of executive committee team and all the participants of CTEF Karnataka chapter, I thank Dr. Vamadevappa wholeheartedly for the wonderful session that he led today, and he motivated us, inspired us, and made us to understand the different factors and dimensions of interpersonal skills, because he has given more and more ideas exhaustively, that too with the live examples. That is very important. He related each and every factor of interpersonal skill to the present situation, to the daily life situation, by quoting various issues that are related to the present day-to-day life. That is the style of our educationist, Dr. Vamadev Uppa. That is why we like him and we like his presentation, because he do not simply read the slide. He will always, just for the sake of understanding of the participants, he shows the slide. But behind that, whatever that is there, in between the lines, he used to explain, and also he gave a number of examples to make the very common man to understand what is this interpersonal skill is. So on my personal behalf, on behalf of all the participants who are in this live session, I once again thank wholeheartedly my senior friend, Dr. Vamadev Uppa sir. Yes,
Thank you.
in
Thank you.
Vamadev Uppa sir, in future course of action, we need your support, guidance,
Certainly,
because you are one of the senior, you are one of the senior teacher educator, senior
I will
educationist of our, sir.
Yeah, I will
So
always.
we need your support in future also. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Certainly.
Because you have been observing, and also you have attended the CTF series,
Yes,
webinar
yes.
series.
Yes.
You also attended.
Yes.
So you know about this, and we have
Yes.
taken the charge of CTF Karnataka just before pandemic situation, and afterwards we thought of doing this activity for the benefit of our teacher educators.
Even during COVID-19, the Karnataka chapter is very active in the country. We are proud of it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, because it is one of the unique activity in at national level. No state is conducting this type of webinars continuously every month.
Yeah, correct. Right.
Okay. And I thank our chief patron, Dr. Praveen, Registrar, CMR University, and he is since from the existence of the new body as a chief patron of the CTF Karnataka state. Dr. Praveen is giving us guidance, and he is helping in all respects, not only by providing the Google platform at the earlier, but even now, every time, whenever we seek his suggestion, because he is the real backbone of this entire session, whatever that we are doing every month in a serious manner. So on this occasion, on behalf of the executive committee team and members and all the participants, I wholeheartedly thank Dr. Praveen for his memorable service that he is giving to us. Thank you, Dr. Praveen. I thank Dr. Ramesh, Principal, Alamin College, because he is one of the Vice President. As a senior most principal of this principal among the B.Ed colleges at present, he is giving us wonderful suggestions. He is really a backbone to conduct these activities in the continuous and phased manner. So I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Ramesh, the principal of Alamin College and vice chairman of this CTF Karnataka chapter. I thank you, Dr. Ramesh, for your guidance and also the presence. And I also thank Dr. Yogesh, Associate Professor of Rajaji Nagar College of Education. He is one of the Vice Chairman of the CTF Karnataka chapter. I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to the Dr. Yogesh for his continuous support and service to the CTF Karnataka chapter. And I thank Dr. Shinti Antony, because she is the treasurer of the CTF Karnataka chapter, and she is the principal of MS Ramaya Institute of MS Ramaya B.Ed College. Thank you, Dr. Shinti Madam, for your continuous support to organize these activities in a meaningful manner. And I thank all the executive committee members of CTF Karnataka chapter for your continuous support and also the presence, because you are the one who are supporting us to do these activities. So I thank each and every executive committee member of CTF Karnataka chapter on this occasion for your valuable guidance and also the presence during the all these activities. I thank all the members once again. And my special thanks to Dr. Maruti, who is from a teacher educator from Tumkur University, because he is technically supporting us, especially in designing certificates and other things. So my special thanks are due to Dr. Maruti from Tumkur University, and my special thanks to Dr. Patan Shetty sir, because he is the main advisor for us, and very lovely and close friend of Dr. Vamadevappa, because they are always Dr. Patan Shetty sir mentioning about Dr. Vamadevappa sir. In the beginning itself, Dr. Patan Shetty sir suggested Dr. Vamadevappa for inviting him to be the resource person. I think the credit of this entire session goes to Dr. Patan Shetty, because he always used to mention about the name of Dr. Vamadevappa for one of the session related to our CTF Karnataka chapter. My special thanks are due to Dr. Patan Shetty sir. He is one of the educationists, senior teacher educator, and he is our guide and advisor for CTF Karnataka chapter. Thank you, sir, Patan Shetty sir, once again from all the participants. Okay, so many participants are there in this session, not only from the Karnataka chapter, but also out of Karnataka. Not only from Karnataka, all over India at national level, many teacher educators, principals, professors, assistant professors, associate professors, and management people, students, many people, many participants are there in this session at national level. Though it is the Karnataka chapter, I mentioned in the morning with Dr. Vamadevappa, the Karnataka chapter is not specific to only Karnataka region teacher educators, but at nationwide, the people are participating with a lot of interest and enthusiasm. So on this occasion, I thank each and every participants of this webinar, because your continuous support and encouragement and participation is very much required for us, and it helps us to boost our energy to conduct these activities in future also. So I thank each and every member of Karnataka chapter in general, and also the participants from Karnataka and out of Karnataka for your continuous support and participation. So directly, indirectly, many people helped us in organizing this webinar continuously. So on behalf of all the executive committee and other members, I thank each and every participant of this webinar. Thank you very much. Have a good day. And if I left anybody, I request Dr. KK to say their names and thank them.
Okay.
Thank you.
I thank CTF Karnataka chapter for providing me this opportunity. Mainly Dr. Praveen, Dr. Lakshmi Narayan, Kavakishore, and Dr. Patan Shetty, to interact with you all. I think thank you all once again, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. M.R. Lakshman, sir, Chairperson CTF Karnataka chapter. With your guidance and the leadership, we are doing all these things, completed the 7 webinar, and hopefully we have to be again with the new vision and as well as the new challenges in the coming new year in the 2021. As usual, the 3rd Sunday, we're focusing on organizing the 8th webinar, most probably whether it is on the psychological aspect or educational research aspect. Very soon we will inform to all of you. Thanks.
Once again, sorry for the interruption. I forgot the very important person, Dr. Kavya Kishore.
No, sir, it's no problem. It's a
part and parcel of this program.
It's a teamwork.
But still, Dr. Kavya Kishore is one of the important personality as General Secretary of this association. He took a lot of pain and stress, and he spent a lot of energy and time in organizing this webinar in a meaningful manner by inviting guests and also by sending invitation and especially contacting all the people through this WhatsApp and other various platforms. So on this occasion, for the support and cooperation and for organizing, I thank Dr. Kavya Kishore, because he is the assistant professor in RV Teachers College, General Secretary of CTF Karnataka chapter. Thank you, Dr. Kavya Kishore. Sorry for
Thank you, sir.
forgetting
No,
your name.
okay. It's okay, sir. No problem. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank
okay. Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks to
you,
one
sir.
and all.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you one and all. Yeah.
Thank you.